Welcome, sports fans, to our new program, Tuesdays on the Edge. Our version of Overreaction Monday, but of course, better. I'm your host, Rowdy, joined as always, my co host, Big Boy and Coop. Together in person, we'll have Big Boy in person with us for this Friday's episode of the Sports Roundtable Trio Edition. How are we doing?
Can't wait.
I just want to say, first off, Big Boy, I love your background right now, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting into this technology. I'm experimenting. I mean, hey, look at us. We're at the stadium. Look at us.
Top, baby.
Yeah. We're in the press box.
In the press, probably one of the best seats in the house right there, honestly.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's old DKR, though. Look at that end zone, the other end zone missing right there.
Yep.
That's cool.
Might need to get an updated pick, huh?
No doubt. Well, and boys, we've had a good amount of new sports fans joining us now. I don't know if y'all have been seeing these numbers and everyone else joining us, but all our new followers and fans, thank you for joining the program and going on this ride with us. And we hope you continue to enjoy it. Of course, like, subscribe, let us know how we're doing. If you got any questions you want us to talk about, anything on that side of things. But of course, as always, to Big Boy's right, our socials, go follow them. We post some good stuff on TikTok and Instagram, Twitter, all that. So go follow those while you're at it. But we'll stop talking about all that and we'll get right into it, man. It was a crazy NFL weekend. As always, on this Tuesdays on the Edge, we kind of recap what went down. And of course, we give you our on the edge of the week. But looking at it, there's none other than, we'll start off, the Kansas City Chiefs, guys. I mean, that was a rough one to the Raiders at Christmas Day.
Raiders beat them up. Raiders came out, scored 2 touchdowns on defense. Mahomes, they just couldn't get it going. And, I know people have seen me and Coop go back and forth about Brock and Christian and all that, but it just shows you that, like, you have to have the weapons. And right now, to me, he just doesn't have the weapons. If Travis Kelce isn't catching it and on fire, like, they're not moving the ball. And it's crazy because the Raiders, me, I love the Raiders, but the Raiders, they have no business even probably being in the playoffs if they end up making it. I mean, their quarterback threw for 67 yards in the first quarter, and that's it. And they beat Kansas City. So,
in my opinion, the receivers aren't catching the ball and doing their job, but also Patty's not trusting them anymore. You didn't see one ball thrown over 35 yards that entire game because he just doesn't trust them. So, not only that they're not making plays, that led to them not being trusted from Patty. You're seeing him scramble around for 5 seconds. You're telling me no one can get open in 5 seconds? Yeah. Come on. So
and all that, Eric Bieniemy. Let's remember that he's gone, and everyone was saying, "Oh, he wasn't doing anything. It was all, Andy." Maybe not. maybe Bieniemy was a lot better, and the Redskins. I mean, it's not like they're gangbusters, but I thought they'd win 2 games this year. And they're in a hunt. So
he's changed their offense, and it was a very interesting move for him to kind of leave the Chiefs in the first place, right? Because now he probably won't be in the Commanders next year either, just because they're probably going to clean house in total. But
unless you give him the job, then I mean, why not?
Yeah, no doubt. And then 2, obviously, Kim from Houston, she gave us another one. She wanted us to talk about, while we're on the Chiefs, the Travis Kelce incident on the sideline of him chunking his helmet. I don't know if y'all saw that video, but
shout out to Andy Reid, though.
What do we think his?
Yeah, he gave him that little shoulder blow. Yeah,
said, give me that helmet. Took it away right from the freaking athletic person, whatever, equipment manager. And was like, no, you're not giving him that helmet. We had a good chat with him. So at the end of the day, I know it's frustrating. I mean, getting triple teamed every play is frustrating. I mean, you can't have anyone else on the team do well, so you're getting triple teamed, and that's frustrating.
and Travis knows, like, his career's it's at the tail end, and so he wants to make every season, every game counts for him, and I mean, and you saw Pat Mahomes yelling at his offensive line, yelling at, I mean, stuff it's kind of like you never saw him sweat. He was always so cool, calm, and when the pressure was on, he just, it was like it didn't phase him. I mean, he's starting to feel it, I think, and it's they're not looking too good. I mean, they're definitely, as we say, on the edge, and I mean,
I feel bad for that defense. We've been saying that about that defense all year, and they're one of the best defenses Patty's had this whole time. Like, think about if they had that defense when that offense was as good as it was.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
Well, and that's the thing is, yes, Chiefs on the edge, right? Probably all their players on the edge. Andy Reid, just because they're not used to that, but the real dude it comes down to is the GM, man. I was listening to Pat talk about it today, and he struggled this year, right? Trying to put together that offense. Like, he didn't want to pay their top offensive lineman, let him walk, barely paid Christian Jones in time, right? That defense would look a lot different if he was not on the team. And then he decides that he thinks Sky Moore's one of the top receivers in the league. So he wants to value him instead of going to get somebody. So, I mean, I can't even tell you, like, who's their top wide receiver. I don't even know. Like, probably
Tony.
Yeah. Tony, like
Rice,
like all those dudes, like, they have no business being a top 1-2 wide receiver on the team. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. But any other team, like, you don't have any business being, especially on that level of quarterback, no shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I can almost bet a lot of money that first round pick for the Kansas City Chiefs is gonna
I saw a mock saying AD.
Oh, AD or Worthy would be good there, man.
Worthy was already gone in that mock draft. They say there could be like 7 receivers taken in the first round. So that's, I mean, AD hadn't even said if he's definitely going, but
interesting.
I would.
Be interesting, right? Well, a bunch of college games finally getting going. Bowl season's here. We're going to talk about some here in a little bit, so stay tuned for that. As always,
not the important bowl games though. The important bowl games is Thursday. Tune into that one. We'll talk about our horns, but we'll get into that Thursday. But
there's still some big games coming up these next few days that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But sticking in the NFL, the Christmas Eve game, right? Your Cowboys and the Dolphins, both your teams, man, both your teams.
Yeah.
What are the thoughts on the Cowboys' performance there? The Dolphins scored 1 touchdown and 1.
Yeah, and especially if you got first and goal from the 1, and you give it to the fullback who's had 7 touches this year. I guess they were trying to surprise him, and that didn't work out very good. He fumbled, and that kind of, I mean, came back to bite him 100%. And I was talking to somebody about it, and who would have thought at this point we would have said, man, I wish we still had Zeke. Because you can say whatever about Zeke. When it was short yardage, he was getting it. If it was a touchdown or a first down. And their defense played pretty good. Their defense played good enough to win. And, they just they couldn't put up the points. I mean, they held the kick, the field goal kicker had 3 over 50. I mean, that's good. I mean, that's against that offense. That's what you ask for from your defense. And they just couldn't put the ball in the end zone, especially like I said on that first and goal. And that just after that happened, I was like, Jesus, here we go.
I mean, it comes down to answering the question if they could win a game against a decent team on the road. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been talking about this whole time how they've struggled on the road. But so I don't know the whole problem there, but
they'll I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. I'm not, you like to hit these playoffs rolling, and they're definitely not. So we'll see what happens. To me, Miami didn't look impressive, either. So it was kind of like that was a game that the Cowboys should have proven that, we belong here. I mean, hate to say it, the Bills are looking like one of those teams on a roll. The Eagles, to me, aren't looking too good either. I mean, San Fran. I mean, we saw Baltimore last night. I think
That's what I
San
was gonna
Fran will
say.
bounce back. I mean, you got to think when it was winning time, their tackle was out. I mean, everybody was getting hurt. I mean, it
Third,
was
third string tackle, you
their
know.
their last offensive lineman was playing. I
Yeah.
like the last one period that was able to play. The last one on the list. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about San Francisco if I was a fan of them. But Baltimore showed me something. Baltimore's
You
defense
talk
showed
about
up.
impressive, big boy.
Yes.
Baltimore came in and out physical them on all three phases of the ball. I mean,
Yeah.
it was ridiculous.
Kyle Van Noy, another guy that the Cowboys could have got that was sitting on the couch when the season started. I mean, and I think he has up there like 8 sacks. He's up there, and he didn't even start the season. So it's Baltimore looks good, man. Baltimore looks very good.
No doubt. Well, we kind of just mentioned the 49ers. Kind of that last one that had a big weekend, and like we like to call it, the opposite of the edge is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Clinched the division title for the first time in I don't even know how many years. It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
Big for them, big win in a close game. And they're kind of like that team, man. You could say they're kind of like in the respective matters like the Dolphins or like the Cowboys, right? They're either super hot and just firing in all phases, or they're just missing bad, right? And there's none other. It's a big game Saturday night, right? Cowboys, are they at the Lions?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's at the Lions.
I mean, we'll preview that Friday's episode, but
the Brownies are looking good too. Right. Joe Flacco is
Amari Cooper had about 200 something,
270 something.
Ridiculous.
Another guy.
He finally got Amari Cooper involved, got Njoku involved, right? Finally got all these weapons involved over there.
And their defense is legit. I mean, that defense is good. So what's going to happen with y'all's boy, man? Are they going to just say, hey, we're going to stick to Flacco for about 2 more years and figure it out?
Well, I was listening.
They owe him so much money they can't. I mean, they gave up draft picks. They gave up guaranteed money. I mean, you just can't.
I was listening to Schefter on the McAfee show today, and they were talking about the same thing. Like, what if Flacco, like, they get into playoffs, right, and they just go ball? Like, what happens?
Hey, with that defense, man, you that's the thing. If you have a great defense and you got a quarterback that can get you some points, I mean, you don't have to be.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're doing it all without Nick Chubb too. I mean, they have a bunch of dudes hurt, man.
Yeah.
They really do. And if Joe Flacco can go win a playoff game, I mean, that's going to guarantee him a contract wherever he goes next year. Now, I think the Browns, the only way they're going to stick with Joe Flacco is like they make a run and win the Super Bowl. I think, right?
I still don't think they would.
Invested into you
can't.
And like that money's you can't trade him. No one's going to take that contract until like maybe he starts doing something again. So.
No, you can't. They're not going to get rid of him. I saw a thing. It's like the first time since like 1970 or something that the Browns and the Lions or we're going to be in the playoffs. So it's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, that is our kind of NFL recap. But now we finally get to talk some college football again, boys. We finally got some good bowl games coming up these next few days, over the 27th, 28th, 29th. And we kind of got a couple picked out from each day that we like the most that we're going to kind of highlight for you and give you our thoughts and opinions on those games. And of course, Friday's episode, we'll look more into the semifinal matchup. We're going to have Eric Henry from Horns 24/7 on again with us, and possibly maybe another special guest with him as well. Cross your fingers on that. We'll see what happens there to talk that Texas versus Washington matchup. But of course, we're going to hit on all the other bowl games that are going on as well. But on the 27th, tomorrow, we got number 15 Louisville versus USC. Big boy, you got anything on that one for us?
Yeah, one thing, looking at all these games, you just notice how many guys either went to the portal or aren't playing because they're going to get drafted and stuff like this. This, of course, is one. Louisville, the running back and the wide receiver are out. Of course, USC, Caleb Williams isn't going to play. The running back's not playing. Jerry Rice's kid isn't playing. I do want to see the quarterback for USC, Miller Moss, and he's athletic too. So watch out for his legs. But I like USC +7, and I like the over. It's 57.5. And I like the over on that one. I got a feeling because Louisville lost some guys on their defense too. And so I got a feeling, and we know USC's defense isn't good, and they lost people on top of it. So
they were already bad.
Yeah, so I like the over on that one. That's a good bet, I think.
No doubt. Well, you kind of mentioned it. Both teams finished the season on a 2 or 3 game losing streak. You mentioned it with the portal, bunch of guys in the portal from USC, obviously, guys sitting out. And honestly, I personally think when it comes to Florida State in the SEC or in the ACC, you can't blame them for trying to leave because there's no reason I think Louisville should be ranked 15 or have even been in that conference championship game. With that being said, you mentioned that Louisville's got a couple dudes out, but they still averaged almost 31 points per game this year versus but subpar opponents, right? They probably had one of the weaker ACC schedules, so take that how you want. But we said it already, the USC defense has been brutal, and a lot of their guys that were dudes on their defense are in that portal as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be not the same USC offense either, right? No Caleb Williams, the guy that they thought was going to be the next quarterback next year, and Malachi Nelson, freshman 5-star, entered the portal as well. So it's kind of,
which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I can't. I know. I don't know why.
Because they got Will Howard out of the portal, so he didn't want to sit around and wait. We'll see what Lincoln does with that. But I think we're really going to see what Lincoln's made of during this game, right?
Yeah.
Versus what some may say are a little bit overrated Louisville team. Definitely, I don't think they're a top 15 team in the nation. But we're going to see what Lincoln's really made of, and if he can make a quarterback no one really talked about or heard of, see if they can put up some points.
Yeah.
Yep. Going on, I got the Texas Bowl. I got Texas A&M versus Oklahoma State in the Texas Bowl. Listen, A&M, guys, is going to have a hard time stopping the run against Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon averages 6.3 yards a carry. He has 20 touchdowns on the year. Listen to this stat. The past 3 games, A&M has allowed 154 rushing yards to LSU, okay? 93 rushing yards to freaking ACU, Abilene Christian, almost 100 yards to Abilene Christian rushing, and 133 rushing yards to Mississippi State. That's the last 3 games, and they're going to have to go try to stop a guy like Ollie Gordon in the backfield.
When they lost Nolan, they lost they lost a lot of guys to the portal.
Exactly. Yeah. And Ollie's coming. Ollie had a tough game against the Horns. So
he wants to, yeah.
He's coming for that other Texas team. You know what I'm saying?
Because he said he's coming back next year already. So he's like, let me get this Heisman or draft started here and let's get it started.
Well, and Oklahoma State's one of those teams that they really haven't had that many dudes enter the portal, right? Or
yeah.
They're not going to have many draft guys. Like they have a lot of their team coming back next year. Quarterback's going to be back, right? So they're all playing in this game, and it could get ugly for A&M.
And that's what's weird to me is because A&M is still favored by 2.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. So what is that? I mean, they lost the coach. They lost 10 starters. I mean, the A&M quarterback, he can throw. I mean, he threw for like 294 against LSU. And we saw what Quinn did in the first half against OSU's passing defense. But still, to me, the wrong team's favored in this. And I do Gundy, Gundy, man. And so I like taking Oklahoma State in the points on this one.
The other thing about A&M too, they don't even know who their coach really is going to be. I have because the intern coach just took a defensive coordinator job at Syracuse. So why would he coach that game? That doesn't make any sense. So
I think he still is, but he's working on stealing their recruits. It sounds like. So
Yeah,
I mean, you know what?
I don't know.
It's Aggies. Like I've said all season, and I tell people, like I do believe that they got all the talent, but they got to put, like Mac used to say, the BB's back in the box, and that's tough. We'll see. We'll see if they can do that.
Yeah.
Well, real quick before we go to our next game, I liked how Big Boy said who he wanted or who he thought was going to win in that USC Louisville game. So, who do you got, real quick? Just straight up, who do you think is going to win in that game?
I think that Lincoln puts together something, and I think they score too many points with that offense. So I'm going to take USC.
I like USC too, and I really hope they just do it because, I mean, if Louisville can't even handle a depleted USC team, right? Then that's another reason why the show Florida State's.
Well, let's just remember that Florida State defense is legit. Yeah. So they did shut down Louisville, but that's one of the top 3, 4, 5 defenses in the NCAA. So, sure. And USC is not close to that. It's on the other end of the spectrum.
No doubt. Well, then going to this A&M OSU game, do you got anything on that? Anything you want to add that Coop didn't maybe talk about?
No, I like Oklahoma State. I think the wrong team's favored. I think they're going to win outright. So I think like Coop said, Ollie Gordon's going to have a day, and I think A&M is they're kind of out in limbo right now.
Yeah.
Who are you going with?
Oh, I'm going with OK State. I said they're trying to get revenge on that Texas team, so they're just going to go try to beat that other Texas team. So Ollie Gordon's going to have about 150 at least.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get hurt. That's one thing. He is a drama queen after watching that game and the last few games of his during the regular season. That's where he always gets banged up.
But he always comes back. He always gets back in there. He's kind of like Worthy. Like, I thought his ACL was blown, and really he comes back in the next play. I'm like, okay.
No doubt. Well, I like Oklahoma State too, and I like it because it's people are calling it the little brother Red River.
Little brother bowl.
Little brother's Red River action. So
that's funny.
But speaking of that, one of the Red River teams plays on the 28th, the Alamo Bowl, right? We got number 14 Arizona versus number 12 OU. What are your thoughts on that, Big Boy?
Jackson Arnold starting, so we get to see that. They've lost the line and a lot of guys on the line, so I just want to see Oklahoma get smoked. So I'm all in on Arizona, but Oklahoma's always going to have, I will root for Oklahoma next year in the SEC because I want them to do good, because I don't want it's kind of weird because to me Oklahoma and Texas are kind of like we're coming in as cousins that hate each other, sure. But you're not going to mess with my cousin. You can mess. I'm not going to let you mess with me. I can mess with him, but you can't. So, I like. It looks like Oklahoma's plus 2.5.
Yeah, they're the dogs.
Yeah, they're plus 2.5. So
the ESPN FBI, which is crazy, it's like 70% OU chance to win too.
Yeah.
And I have an updated line on mine. It says Arizona -3. So
yeah.
I'm gonna take Oklahoma in that one. I think they're gonna come take care of business. I don't see Arizona having a way to stop them in the fast.
Arizona was hot at the end of the year, though, man. I mean, they really were. They were balling. So I'm all in on Arizona. Let's go.
Well, I mean, I think it's time for OU to see right what their new OC they got, right? New OC.
Yeah, there's new OC.
And Jackson Arnold, like you mentioned, can do against a pretty good Arizona team, man. I mean, number 14, top 15 team. Like you said, it's hot.
This
season. Neither team really has very many players sitting out besides obviously Dylan Gabriel and then the big lineman from OU. But I don't think really Arizona has anyone sitting out. So it should be a good scoring game. Arizona averaged 34 a game this year, and OU averaged 43. Obviously, that's with their old OC, who's Jeff Lebby now at Mississippi State head coach, and then obviously Dylan Gabriel, right, going to Oregon. They still got all their running backs. So I think if OU can get the running game going, which obviously they struggled on majority of the year, but they still got their stable backs going, and they can get Arnold rolling early. I could see OU pulling away from
And
him.
he's ready. Like he's chomping at the bit. I mean,
Oh,
he's ready.
And that's the thing. It's gonna be interesting because his nerves are gonna be high just because of maybe not like so much nervous of it, but just chomping at the bit, ready.
Yeah.
And it's really gonna be if like how he starts off. I feel like it's gonna kind of factor in on how that game goes. I think it's gonna be a good test though for OU secondary, right? Who's looked rough at times this year against an Arizona team with Fafita still at the helm, averaging just over 300 yards a game in the air. So I think it's going to be a good game, honestly.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm leaning.
We know where your heart is. Just say it.
I think OU will be able to get Jackson going.
Here we go.
I think he's good. So
yeah, he is. I think we're going to see. We're going to see what he is. He has all the hype for sure. But I mean, he's a 5-star kid. So
yeah.
Sure. Well, looking at the other big game on that day, 28th, we got number 18 NC State versus number 25 K-State. I know Coop's got something for that.
Yeah, this Pop-Tart Bowl, I mean, it's going to be a big
Pop-Tart Bowl.
Pop-Tart Bowl. It's going to be a good matchup. K-State brings in true freshman, long-haired Avery Johnson, okay?
Yeah.
He's going to run the show. Will Howard's out, going to USC, and this is a good test for him to, show that he's that dog. Good chance for K-State to show that they're ready to be top dogs. In the Big 12 with Texas and OU heading out, they're going to be the top dogs coming up next. So it's going to be a big game for them. NC State had a great year, though. They lost to Louisville by 3 early in the year. If they would have won that game, it would have been them versus Florida State in the ACC championship. They had wins over Clemson, North Carolina. So this is going to be a big bowl matchup. Shout out 2 teams that are on the rise, on the rise to, they're good. They're getting better. So
I agree. I'm excited to see Avery Johnson. I like him. I think he's exciting, athletic. We're going to see how his passing does. But, we got to see him down here at UT for a couple plays, but they kind of shut that down. So I'm excited to watch him. The starting tight end and the safety Kobe Savage, they're not playing for K-State. So that's big. But NC State has 17 players in the portal. Their linebacker, Peyton Wilson, who won the I can't say in the Dinaric.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Buckus Award, he's sitting out to go to the draft. So that's big. That's big on defense to lose. I mean, that's the heart and soul of your defense, a guy like that. That's their stud. And so I like K-State in this one. I've seen it at 2.5, K-State minus 2.5.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take K-State on that one. I think losing the heart of your defense is bad. That's tough to stop a kid like that that's going to be running and ready to go.
And he's not having to worry about someone, going in and out. He's the dude,
Yeah,
he doesn't have to worry about anything like that. He's going to be the guy. He knows he's going to be the guy. So I think that lets his mind be more free in that aspect, So that will help.
If I make a mistake, I know I'm not getting benched.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
I'm gonna take K-State with Avery Johnson, true freshman. Yeah.
I was leaning NC State till you gave me that amazing stat about all those portal dudes.
I do.
Out, man. So I'm gonna have to go over to K-State now and Avery Johnson. Obviously, we know he's a weapon on the ground with his legs, right? So let's see what he can do in the air.
Yeah, I think he's gonna run. I think he's gonna have at least 75 yards rushing.
Oh yeah. No
I'm going to put that in there.
Might as well just go up to 100, right?
Might as well go for a bill, right?
For sure.
No doubt. Well, that is kind of our 28 December 28th games. One more we got before we wrap up this Tuesday's On the Edge episode. Thanks for joining. If you're listening, wherever you're watching, YouTube, Spotify, if you're listening, or if it's just a clip you see, man, go and watch the full pod. Go and watch everything else. Like, subscribe. But our last matchup we're going to talk about today is the December 29th game. Number 9, Missouri versus number 7, Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
Big boy.
It's going to be a good game, man. OSU has trying out a new quarterback, Devin Brown, but Marvin Harrison is going to play. So that's big. The Missouri QB and the running back are both playing. So it's going to be there. OSU has lost some people, but as far as who's going to win, I'm going to say OSU just because the blue blood part of it in me and just thinking that they're going to pull it out. But I do like the under. It's 49, and I like the under. I'm going to hammer the under. So that's where I'm at.
I like it. I think it's going to be interesting to one to watch both sides, right? Can Missouri prove to be really a top 10 team in the nation, right? Someone outside of the SEC to get to play some, like you said, blue blood outside of the SEC finally.
One loss.
Even though it's a very depleted Ohio State roster, right? They still got the dudes. Yeah. It's just the fact of, are the dudes that were dudes in high school going to be able to produce on the big stage? And they did have a lot of guys into the portal. I'm going to be interested to watch how you mentioned Marvin Harrison's playing, but they've also had a bunch of their wide receivers into the portal, a bunch of young guys they got that were big 4 or 5 stars. So I'm interested to see how those wide receivers can make plays in space and see what Devin Brown, like you said, can do with Kyle McCord in the portal. Ohio State still has not landed a QB in the portal, which is very surprising, I would say, with the names that were in there in the portal.
Maybe they're happy with him.
And that's where it comes down to is like a good performance from Brown against a good SEC team, right? You can say Missouri was a good SEC
definitely
team, especially defense. That could go a long way in his chances for winning the job at the end of the day. So I'm gonna go with Missouri, though. I don't think Devin Brown's gonna be able to do that, but props to him if he can.
Not so fast, my brother. Ohio State is going to show out. Their physicality is going to win them this football game. Ohio State's 2s and 3s can go star at 90% of the other programs out there. So I don't think the portal has much really to do. Obviously, it's a big deal, but for them, I think their 2s and 3s are going to be just fine in this game. And I think their physicality of that defense is going to come out and win that football game.
I like it. Well,
I like the not so fast. I like that.
Of course. Coop's always got something up his sleeve.
Yeah, the wild card.
Well, as we almost wrap up this episode, make sure you tune in to this Friday's episode, right? 9 a.m. now, not noon anymore, 9 a.m. coming to you. Preview of the rest of the big games, right? Michigan, Alabama. We'll talk a little bit in NFL matchups, of course. It's going to be a packed episode. Of course, we'll give you our NFL picks and a little bit of college picks like we just did on Friday's episode. So tune into that. Real quick before we get out of here, though, what do you got? You got something?
I was going to say, you can't forget about Thursday or Friday, I guess, comes out for y'all. We're going to be having a big talk about our horns, man. I've been losing sleep over this game, big boy. And so I'm ready to talk about it.
It's kind of scary when you look at the numbers, boys. Let's get real. But I do think, we'll cover it this week. But
for sure,
I still got faith in the horns, man.
No doubt. Well, we're going to have it all broken down for you on Friday's episode. We hope you enjoyed this one of the games we broke down for you and talked about. Anybody got one guy or team player that's on the edge after this past weekend that we maybe didn't talk about?
We kind of talked about him, but it's just been on my mind. The Chiefs, man, like that offense is struggling, and you can tell Patty and Kelsey are such competitors that they can't lose. Like they do not know how to lose, and you literally can see them breaking down right now.
Yeah.
They have no idea what to do.
They do look like a very tired team.
So that's mine. We talked about it, but they're literally hanging off the edge. So
Yeah, that was pretty much what I was going with. I mean, Pat Mahomes' wife up there crying on Taylor's. I mean, that just touched my heartstrings.
Brutal.
You know, I mean, I don't know what to do. You know, but yeah, I mean, I was going to go with the Chiefs, and I think that's kind of where we're all at. It's pretty easy pick, I think. You know, after seeing, you know, all that this week, but yeah, I'll go with them too.
I got one for you. Even though they did win this last week, they beat the Cowboys, but I think the Dolphins are almost there. They haven't been playing their best ball the last couple of weeks. Jalen Waddles has a chance to be out the rest of the season, they're saying.
Yeah.
Tyreek's been hurt.
He's definitely not. Yeah, he's hurt.
So I think for the future, next 2 weeks, I look for them to really see what's going to truly happen in Miami and what they're going to do. But with that being said, that brings us to the end of Tuesdays on the Edge adventure, guys. We hope you enjoyed the ride as much as we did. Remember to subscribe, like, share if you want to. What else they got to do?
Ring that bell. Hey, and we appreciate the comments and the likes. You know, bad or good, just give us those comments. Some guy said the lighting sucked and I couldn't speak English. So look, I got me a light. I got me a microphone for Christmas. So hey man, come on back and check us out now. Yeah, man. We're trying to get professional here. It's gonna take a little time.
For sure.
But yeah, anything, you know, we appreciate everybody. Appreciate Kim out there sending in those questions. Please leave a comment with a question if you want us to talk about it. And call us dipshits or whatever you want to call us, man. We appreciate it.
Well, until next time, stay curious, stay on the edge. Have a fantastic sports week, big bowl games, and we'll see you Friday at 9 a.m. Central for the Sports Roundtable Trio edition.
For a big one, baby.
Peace.
Welcome.